Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Holly and that's my dog. We have a new puppy, which is kind of like having a new baby, but different. So he's sitting next to me playing with his squeakers while I record this video. So if you hear the little squeakers, that's our little puppers. He is a long-haired miniature dachshund, and we got him about a week or two before Christmas, which has been taking up a lot of time, which is why one of the reasons I haven't recorded a video for YouTube in a little bit. But I'm starting to get the hang of this bathroom break thing with the little puppy, and starting to figure out what I can do to keep him busy while I am also trying to work and correct papers and record videos and work in my craft room and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. This Vinyl Cottage subscription box is from December, and there are a ton of really super cute Valentine Day options that you can mix your vinyl with your decals. Just use vinyl, just use decals on glitter tumblers, whatever. So I'm flipping through this just so you can see how cute these designs are. And I'm gonna choose 2 vinyls to put on a large tumbler and then 1 vinyl to put on a smaller 16-ounce tumbler, along with 2 matching decals. This cherry vinyl is called Twisted Cherries. It's a 12 by 12 vinyl. I'm gonna use that with a decal on a 16-ounce straight AF from Mother Tumbler. And then this neutral and red cupcake vinyl is called Valentine Sweets. I'm going to use that with the beige, the light beige colored vinyl that has all the little teeny hearts over in the bottom right hand corner. That one is called Neutral Hearts. I'm going to put both of those together on a large 32-ounce Hydrofit tumbler from Steel Magnolia. And I'm popping off the bottom, or I've popped off the bottom, and I'm going to clean that up really nicely before I apply some glitters, 2 different colored glitters, to the outer ring and then the inside circle of that tumbler. Before I start applying the vinyls, I made sure that I sanded both tumblers really well and cleaned them up with rubbing alcohol. And then I am experimenting with this brand new tool that I got from Cami Paige Boutique. I'm not really sure how to use it. I've seen people use it on other YouTube channels. So I'm just kind of playing around with it. There's a whole bunch of little attachments, and I thought maybe I should have pulled those off. I don't know. The only one that I really needed was that long ruler-shaped attachment that would help me draw a nice straight line and center it with the top of that lid. Once I had that line drawn and I had my vinyls cut to the height and width that I wanted, actually I just did the height. I'm going to wind up cutting the width. I lined up the end of the vinyl, the edge of the vinyl to that line, and it worked out really well. So I just wrapped that vinyl around the tumbler for both the top and the bottom, and then trimmed off the excess once I met up with the other side. For the 16-ounce, I decided to cut it exactly the height that I wanted, as well as the width, so I wouldn't have to do any trimming, because I am a super messy trimmer, and oftentimes I'll cut too close to that edge, which is what I did with the large tumbler. I'll show you toward the end of this. On the bottom half of that tumbler, you can see a small portion of stainless steel peeking through, which really bothers me. So this time I made sure I cut exactly the height and width that I needed, so I wouldn't have to do any trimming later. Once the vinyls are applied, I just went around and checked to see if there were any bubbles that need to be popped. And instead of poking a hole, I put just a tiny little slice through it and then flatten those bubbles out. And it works well. You can't see it under the epoxy if you do it that way. Okay, here they are side by side. The one on the left, I'm going to put a red strip of vinyl in between those 2 pattern vinyls and then apply the decal. The one on the right, I am going to do a power wash technique with a white and pink spray paint. Okay, so it's dark, I'm outside, and I have this box that I just use over and over again for my spray paint so I don't spray paint the house. I am applying the power wash Dawn dish soap first, and then I'm going to apply a layer of white spray paint. Nope, I'm doing pink first. And then I'm going to rinse it off with that bottle of water sitting there. That's going to create a nice soapy, wet, sticky mess. And then I'm going to redo the whole entire process, power wash again with the Dawn dish soap, and then spray paint that Marshmallow white over the top of it. Once I have those two colors applied and have rinsed it off one more time, I'm going to let this sit upside down because I know that I got water inside that tumbler. I'm going to let it all drain out and let it sit until it's completely dry before I apply the very first layer of epoxy. I am using Flynn Sisters Boutique Epoxy for this tumbler, so I'm going to give it a good 12 hours or so before I pull it off that turner. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply more spray paint to that center decal area because I don't like how sparse it is. I want it to be a more solid white base before I put that decal over the top of it. So once this cures, I'm going to go ahead and spritz it one more time with that spray paint. Before I walk away for the night, I'm going to use that excess epoxy that I had left over from that 16-ounce tumbler to create a glitter butt. So the outside ring is going to be a darker color. It is called Burgundy Carnation Custom Mix from Maestra Creations. And then the inner circle of that bottom is going to be Sugarsweet Custom Mix from Maestra Creations. These two colors went really well together, and they also match the shades of the red and the pink on the tumbler. So I thought that was a pretty option. Before applying my vinyl decal, I want to make sure that I have that lid twisted on so I can see where the lip lines up. I like to apply my decals on the outside where your fingers are holding the tumbler, not on the inside where you can see it. I like other people to be able to see what the saying is or the picture or whatever vinyl you're putting on there. And then I decided to, instead of putting the words up above on the lighter shade vinyl that has it's less busy, I didn't like the way it looked because that top portion of the vinyl is actually a smaller section. I wanted the words to be on the bigger section, and I actually like the way the words blend in with the neutral colors underneath the vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that on the bottom, and then I'm going to take a thin pre-cut strip of red vinyl and place that right between those two patterns. Just very simple, just one strip, nothing fancy. I have several sheets of vinyl that I have pre-cut stripes or strips that I can use for striping or piping or whatever you want to call it when I'm making like tangram tumblers or doing some fancy vinyl outlining, whatever. So this is just a very convenient way to save some time. You just have those sheets laying around, you just pull off the strips and you can use them, for whatever. Okay, so when I was trimming the vinyl on the bottom, I trimmed way too close to that edge, and like I said before, there's a little teeny piece of stainless steel that's peeking through right under that cupcake, or right next to that cupcake. So the way I'm going to remedy that is I'm just cutting a cupcake from the vinyl, and I'm just going to slap that cupcake right over the top of the one that has the exposed stainless steel, and nobody will ever know. Shh. Once that vinyl is on there, I am going to seal it with Krylon clear coating and just let that sit until it's totally dry before applying epoxy. Okay, the 16-ounce sort of split in the center there because when I did the power wash, that vinyl was not sealed, and so liquid got in between the vinyl edges and it sort of separated a little bit. So I had to put an extra thick layer of white over the top of it, and then I'm going to go ahead, if I put this clear decal over the top of that spray paint, the spray paint is flat. It's not glossy, and so you're going to really see the flatness of the spray paint underneath that decal when I put epoxy over the top of it. But then every other area of that tumbler will be clear and shiny, which is going to look really weird. So because I'm cutting corners, what I did, instead of applying another application of epoxy and waiting for that to cure, I went ahead and applied 3 applications of triple thick Krylon clear gloss making sure that they dried completely in between each coat. And then when you apply your see-through decal, you can see a shiny finish on the underside of that decal rather than a flat finish that will look really funny once you epoxy everything. So the whole tumbler should be shiny because I sprayed a glossy spray paint underneath the decal. I also, when I sprayed this white section, I also took my spray paint can and just barely held down the nozzle to create paint splatters because I wanted it to look very rustic. I love that look. And so I wanted paint splatters around the entire tumbler. So I have the Powerwash with the pink and the white, as well as the paint splatters. To finish this tumbler off, I just cut out a little cherry with a couple stems, and I'm going to cut out a little heart and put that on the bottom of the tumbler. Spray the whole tumbler one time with a Krylon or Rust-Oleum, whichever spray paint you like to use that's clear, and then let that dry, and then it'll be ready for another application of epoxy. Hopefully it'll be the last one, and then both these tumblers will be done and ready to go. Here are the finished products. This one is going to get one more coat of epoxy because I want to clean up the edge of the stainless steel at the top. I don't like the way that white spray paint is, you know, overlapping the stainless steel. So I'm going to sand that up really well, expose that stainless again, and then put one more coat of epoxy, and then that one will be done. And here's the 32-ounce Hydrofit, which would have turned out perfectly. Actually, it looks fantastic if you don't look too close. If you look closely, you will see a bunch of micro bubbles because A, I did not heat my epoxy before I mixed it, and B, I also forgot to use my torch to pop the bubbles because I was in such a hurry to get my dog out of his crate. So what do? Oh well, it happens. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these videos. Please leave any questions or comments below.